She's always the clever one. We should never talk about
This is really fun. It's like musical chairs. Are we actually?
Good morning.
We are.
We are live. Good morning and welcome to what have I just read with Michael, with Anastasia, with Malcolm,
And with the jingle.
and we're trying to fit this all into the screen. And I hope you can hear us. If anybody is out there, let us know if you can hear us.
Can we see comments?
Yes, we can.
Great.
And hopefully we can see them now.
Yeah, so Vera, if you're there,
Yeah.
send us
One
something.
person is there, so tell us if you can hear us okay, or if we should speak up
Right.
a bit more.
So what do we do? You read Joshua 7,
Yes. we
and
did.
they've been naughty,
Yeah.
and they lose in battle as a result.
That's right. Yes, perfect. Thank you. Thank you, Vera.
And I did feel sympathy because it's like Joshua against AI, and I thought AI, artificial intelligence. Yes.
It's hard to defeat that enemy.
I had never thought of that, but yes, exactly. And I suppose, the danger is that it was all going to happen again. This is all that happened under Moses. People had disobeyed God's commands, and then...
But isn't this whole repetition thing, I think it's just fascinating, because it's always happening. It's almost like people are doomed. There's a cycle here. They sin, then they're sorry. If they sin, God's angry, stuff goes really badly, and then they repent, then God shows mercy, and then they sin again, do something silly, and there's all sorts of failure and
It's
death.
true about us as well,
But it's just this story of humanity.
Yes, exactly. We never learn, do we?
Yeah.
I do like the idea that when people sin, they kind of go out from under God's blessing and God's protection.
Right.
And this kind of, in my mind, tied with what you did in this kit yesterday, of how God's guidance and God's spirit, the inner compass within us, is through His Spirit, but then if we're somehow disconnected through sin, then we can't really have that anymore because there is
Because
a...
we
can't hear.
We can't hear Him, yes, there is a breach of relationship and...
There was a very good comment here, but I'm not going to be able to find it. I went straight to it. Well, I was supposed to find it. You cannot stand before your enemies until you've taken away the cursed things from among you. When God deals with a particular area of sin, and when we resist His work, He and His mercy, we fail in battle. We're most dangerous when we think we are winning on our own.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. And they looked at AI. And they thought, we can control AI, we can master AI.
We don't need to bring all the people in. A few people will do. It's not difficult, and yet then they failed.
Yeah.
But also the other thing is there's this constant. Another thing I think comes up is this constant journey into other land, and Joshua says, why couldn't we just stay where we were? Why do we have to cross the wretched river? And it was so easy there. And I think it's a really interesting idea. It's like they have to sort of move on to the promised land, on to the things which they have the potential within themselves to realise and to master.
It's
As
almost a
opposed to
constant
sit still.
growth.
Exactly.
And this hackneyed term of comfort zone that I do not like.
Yeah, right.
But it's like, we are comfortable here, can we just stay here? No, we constantly need to kind of walk with God and learn how to trust Him more and more, and get out into the new strange lands.
Exactly. And take kind of master them somehow.
Yeah.
But you're right, I love the use of Joshua's completely was not in his comfort zone anymore.
Yeah, exactly. That's okay.
That's really good. And then we move to other people one person who does step out of his comfort zone. The story of the Good Samaritans.
Yes.
Challenging. This is
a great
challenge.
story, isn't it?
This is so challenging because how many times we walk past a homeless person who looks intoxicated, maybe sick. And one time, or a couple times, I came up to them and I was like, "Can I help you?" And they asked me, like, "What are you going to do?" And I was like, "You're right. I don't know what I would do." And how
So grab a donkey on the other side of the road.
would you like to go to a hotel? Can I pay a hotel for you?
I do think probably this is a slightly different situation. I do think this is... the problem is that we come across so many people who could become neighbours in need to us. What was very interesting is that Jesus doesn't really answer his question. He asks, who is my neighbour? So he is expecting Jesus, no doubt, to say, well, your neighbour is the Israelites.
Yeah.
Right.
The answer, if you look at the end, Jesus then says, having told the story, which of these three do you think was a neighbour to the man who fell into the hands of the robbers? Almost became a neighbour to the man. In other words, he became a neighbour when the Good Samaritan, showed mercy on him.
That's really interesting. So it's almost like neighbour as a concept rather than neighbour as a physical someone across the fence, next to you.
Yeah.
He basically says there is no one group of people you need to help.
Yeah.
You just need to have mercy.
I mean, the command to love your neighbour is actually quite a challenging command because you don't choose your neighbour, you choose your friends, you don't choose your family, but you've sort of grown up with them, but you don't choose your neighbours. And so actually learning to love them is quite hard. Sorry, very important message. It's not enough to be a Christian, I have to act as Jesus would do. I have to love everyone and show mercy to those in need, yes. Yeah, but it is an incredibly difficult calling.
Yeah.
Is that Vera?
I think that was Vera, yeah.
Just have to love everyone. Well, was it love everyone? It's a good calling there.
Yeah. But of course that's really difficult. And you are right, when you do walk past people and you see people in the streets and you just think, the problem is we are limited people. We're limited by space, we're limited by time.
Resources.
And actually you have to be very clear. I think if you're walking past and God says, I really want you to show that particular person. Then it's that's a little bit about, we were talking before about being guided by God.
The Holy Spirit, exactly. So you feel the need within you, something
Yeah.
to reach into your pocket or to go out and buy them a sandwich or something.
Yeah.
Very true.
But
Great stories.
lovely, thank you ever so much. Have a wonderful day.
Yeah. Take care.
Enjoy the day off if you can.
No, yes.
Yeah, happy holiday.
It's so nice. So nice
Russia
to
Day.
meet you outside. Thank you. Have
Thank
a good
you.
day. Yes.
Thank you, Dimitri. Thank you, Dimitri.
Bye.
My head was coming in from upside down.
That's okay.
That was fun. You look good. Look at you.